Can I just throw out a totally new topic real quickly? Something near and dear to our hearts as journalists. We're seeing an erosion in the public's access to, transparent government, knowing what public officials are up to, and that's because the laws do not even speak to some of the technologies and ways of communication now. We can't get, instead of sending emails, which are definitely public records when politicians are sending them around, they send text messages. It's almost the same as an email, but we can't get it because the AG's office hasn't said that we can have it. There's no law that says that there's a retention requirement for it. Politicians or officials are using personal cell phones, and we can't get access to those cell phone records. I mean, so it doesn't seem that the state law is keeping up with technology. And if you could just, as the former AG, address what can we do about that?
Keep up with it and propose legislation that would do just that.
But do you see the state legislature, because I'm sure they're texting and using the same loopholes that our local politicians are using. I mean, are they going to impose that on themselves? It's hard to imagine.
There's only one way to find out. I will say this about Florida, though. I think that we are known for and deserve to be known for one of the most open record states in America. And, our sunshine laws, I think, are second to none in that regard. So I think that's a great starting point for Florida, which may give greater encouragement to the legislature in continuing to stay on that path.
Yeah.
And do more and do better.
But there's nothing afoot to say, hey, let's address the Facebook messages and the texts and there's nothing that
not that I'm aware of, not that I've heard of, but it's a long way to the session.
Yeah.
Didn't you have a panel of, when you first came in, didn't you set up some...
We have an office of open government,
yeah,
and Joanne Karen heads it up for our office.
Is that a vehicle where maybe some of those concerns can be addressed?
Well, certainly there can be. There's no question about it. And, I'm always a eager participant in transparency and have been, and would encourage same.
Okay.
One last Rothstein question.
Sure.
You mentioned that you considered him a friend. How often did you talk to him, and when was the last time you saw or spoke to him?
How often would I talk to him? Maybe once every 6 weeks.
Would he call you, or how would he typically?
It was both, but and the last time I talked to him, it's been a long time now. Months.
You didn't talk to him after all this came to light, the holiday weekend of our Thanksgiving, Halloween weekend? Since then?
No.
Since all this came to light?
No.
He didn't call you up and say, Charlie, I'm in trouble, what can you do for me?
Negative.
I'm in Morocco.
It's the most unbelievable thing I've ever seen in my life. It really is. I mean, it's just, but things like that happen in life.
Yeah.
There's a great golfer that's going through a very difficult time.
Really?
How do you foresee
Another
those
troubled
things?
Florida resident.
Yeah, if it's interesting, it's happening in Florida. I mean, it gives you guys a lot to do,
Yeah.
that's for sure.
Very
But it's,
busy.
things like that happen. People are human. And regrettably, make terrible mistakes sometimes.
But I
It's
guess
very
people,
sad and tragic
yeah.
when it happens.
I guess people wonder if, just like investors are blinded by the money that they were getting, are politicians blinded by campaign contributions in a case like that,
Well, no, not blinded by. I mean, as I said earlier, whether you're myself or Alex Sink or anybody else, you're grateful, And if you don't have a reason to suspect that, there's something wrong with the individual, you don't have a reason to suspect there's something wrong with the individual. I mean, I'm sure Alex feels badly for it too. So do I. But, as I said earlier, I don't have a crystal ball.
Mm-hmm.
I try to use good judgment and exercise that at all times, but I can't see into the future. I'm not that good.
Before we wind down, we got Josh on the phone. He's been really
Yeah,
quiet.
Josh,
I know.
you still there?
Yeah,
We probably cut them off a half hour
I
ago.
had a question for you, Governor, if I can get one in.
Yeah.
Yeah.